Right, I said previously that I want to talk about the triangularization of the world. And of course this sounds a little bit mysterious, and it may be that it is mysterious. It's something that I thought about since a couple of months, not least in the context of working globally with people, not least from the Islam world and from Asian world. That it is somewhat striking that whenever we look at something here in the West in the Christian traditions, we have the Holy Trinity. Now, of course, we have the Holy Trinity, but we have as well many other trinities. As one, I'll point later on out a little bit more on this, between market, state, and civil society. One of the crucial factors for the topic here of social economy. I mentioned in one of the other sections that with the emerging capitalism, Renaissance and Enlightenment, we find as well the birth of the individual. It had been a crucial point in the beginning of a society that developed entirely new ways. It had not been anymore the hierarchical society with its fixed structures, but it had been a process of breaking up these structures and giving space for individuals. Giving space for individuals, but as well forcing people to be individuals. It had been, obviously, as well with capitalism, the emergence of the division between classes. Usually we see it, and this is not only or not a Marxist interpretation, we see it as the interpretation or the emergence of the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, the two classes standing against each other. Actually, I would suggest that we have three classes standing against each other, with this point, not contradicting Marx, but actually going a little bit further with what he actually said. We have, with this, or with the two revolutions, three classes emerging. The one had been the bourgeois, already in the guilds, producing and industrious. On the other side, the free laborer, being free, not being slave, and being free as being not owner of means of production. The third class usually is the middle class. It may be that there is a middle class, it may be that there is not really a middle class, because one is always one or the other side. Leaving this aside, there is a different third class, I think, and this is the citoyen. I think it's only the German who have a specific term for it, the Bildungsbürger. The citoyen, the citizen who lives on education, who is for freedom, the typical humanist, who has space to be human, who has mental space because he is well educated or she is well educated, although at that time it was really he was well educated. Women had been very much outside of this picture. Having space in this sense, but having space as well in the sense of having resources, not depending on work, on his own or her own work, and not depending on being entrepreneur, being forced as acting in this economic process in the strict sense. Landlords, patrons, having inherited capital have been typical for it, or people kind of after retiring, making so much money out of the business that they could avail of this freedom in their spare time, living on what they earned or didn't earn in a previous life in inverted commas. So we have these three groups, another triangle, and we have another coming after that. We have actually in the political process something that is well known, even if since the ancient times, where we find it as well already, but then being made explicit by Montesquieu, the separation of powers. The executive, the legislative, and the judiciary powers. It's another triangle, and it's another division or separation, division of labor, where people have been responsible for something different. It was not anymore the hierarchical order, as we find it in previous societies, but it was a kind of separation on a vertical level. As I said, we find the division, the separation of power already in previous societies, in ancient societies, but here we find it in a different way, being very much a matter of vertical separation. And then finally, we have, and it goes hand in hand with all of this, the typical triangle of economy or the market, the political process, the state, majorly dealing with policies, actually, not so much with politics, and what is called, what became known as civil society. Quite a lot of politics actually happened within this civil society. People gathering, and not least the middle class, so-called middle class, or the Bildungsbürger, the citoyen, being there making politics. You can see it going on in today's societies. If you look at parliaments, you find usually lawyers, quite a lot of lawyers being in the parliaments. The citoyen. I have many good friends working in this area, not in the parliament sphere as well, but in the area of law. They may forgive me, they never worked. Of course they work, but they never worked in this productive process. They get the money as professionals and are now negotiating politics. They are then translated into policies, but this is the triangle of market, economically active people, both the bourgeois and the proletariat. The other, the civil society, being supposedly independent of this, the citoyen, the person who has certain interests pursuing them, and then the administration looking at something else that is there as state, as dealing with policies and administering basically what comes out there. As I said, it is linked to the separation of power as well, of having an executive, a legislature, and a judiciary. You can say even this is the reproduction or the duplication of this structure, that you have the executive in society, the people who are actually producing social life every day with producing products and with producing their everyday life in the market sphere. Then you have another point where it comes to the legislature, which is of course the state finally defining what policies are about. And then you have the judiciary system, the civil society, this diffuse block of people pursuing their interest and controlling actually if the policies are in the right end. I think it is worthwhile to think about this a little bit further and to think not only in this given box, okay, we have the market, we have the economic system, we have politics, we have the state, and we have some NGOs or associations that are not really one or the other. So it's the third sector, the non-sector, non-governmental organization, non-profit organizations whatsoever. If we think about it further, I think we come to a better understanding of as well the social economy within the society. As I said, it was only a small, perhaps a little bit provocative notion, sideline, and I want to come from here to the fifth point, diversification of society.